Like some comments? I really do. I like some comments. Don't care about you. I like some comments.
Yes, Scout. Yeah, I've read quite a bit of good stuff about this, but for some reason, never saw it about to pick up. Don't know if it was selling out locally and not getting sold at all. It don't matter, does it, either way? But yeah, first thoughts is it comes off like, that old badass returns home after yonks away, etc., etc. vibe. But after a few pages of heavy knuckle swapping, fairly inventive effing and jeffing, there's a few different ideas get chucked in to help mix it up a bit. Said badass is named Bad Horse for a start and gets med into a lawman pronto by the local head honcho, which understandably raises a few eyebrows before the end of the very first issue reveals him to be a double agent for genuine FBI cats or whatever, neck deep in a sting to set to weevil out his new boss, who's been at the top of Interplod's wants list for a considerable time. Fair early doors for such a potentially seismic twist, innit that? So there must be more to come on back of that, eh? We're into comprehensive flashback territory then as we take a detailed gander at his first week on job, where seemingly all kind of sugar's gone down. More than enough to make our anti-hero want to cash in his chips and fly the coop. Sounds straightforward enough, doesn't it, that? But it turns out the head of the sting's got an hefty pile of dirt on this here bad horse that is more than ready to dish if the towel gets chucked in at this stage. This first collection sets its stall out pretty well, and the series itself ran for about 60 issues or so it must have been doing something right. I've not got around to trade paperback 2 yet though. Not saying I want it long run, but I weren't compelled to find out what we're wanting long run, like I am if something really toots me flute. Right enough though, worth a gander. Yeah, Sweet Tooth. Out the pages of Whizzer and Chips is this. And this here Sweet Tooth character is a fairly laid back simple cat. And all he really seems to want from life is to nip round to the corner shop for a quarter of chocolate, to answer sherbet dab or whatever. And he's happy as a pig in shinola. But like most kids that age, he's got a nasty nemesis who likes no more than to hang about waiting to rob our hero of any sweet goodness he may have got his sticky little mitts on. I guess, as with a lot of weekly strips back then, Sweet Tooth is quite a moralistic take, where everything comes up roses for the good guys, so cue repeated ways in which said thieving half-wit, known as Greedy Greg, continually gets outwitted by the sharp-thinking Sweet Tooth, disguising antique chair legs or rolling up licorice so the old Bill think he's had a good hiding or whatever, and then more often than not ends up falling face first into some fiscal reward that he can spend on yet more sweets, while Greedy Greg gets his comeuppance that more than often concludes with him getting into bother via the intervention of various authority figures. Like most of this kind of kit, it gets in, does what it does and gets out again in one page, 2 at a push maybe in the Christmas annuals. Good stuff, man. Good wholesome stuff. And then there's this Sweet Tooth. Contemporary take, no. It's a different cat, innit? Though, like most good kids, Sweet Tooth does what his daddy says, which is staying in the woods on account of the rest of the show being all hellfire or something. Sweet Tooth isn't convinced though, and when his dad passes on, he decides to explore, which leads him straight into bother, and so on. This dude, Mr. Jeopard, shows up and reckons how there's a nice spot he knows where special kids like Sweet Tooth are safe, and he can help take him there. Sweet Tooth understandably ain't too sure whether to trust this guy or not, but he don't want to be on his Todd, so decides to give it a go. And they head through an old town where it's clear that some real bother has gone down, and whatever that was, has hit a lot of folk real hard. Jeopard can certainly do a bit though, which, as we all know, always comes in handy in any kind of post-apocalyptic scenario. And Sweet Tooth lets Mr. Jeopard know that even though he's doing bad things as they make their way, it don't make him a bad man in Sweet Tooth's eyes. But stuff don't really get much easier en route. Yeah, it's a bit special, is this? And I can honestly say I can't remember being so genuinely engrossed by a book I wasn't even so sure about initially, to the point where I read all 40 issues within a few days. And even though I'd only read Essex County by Jeff Lemire prior to this, and I've dug that a great deal, I don't know why my expectations weren't all that high with this, but hecky peck I were wrong, man. I think it were the post-apocalyptic vibes, you know, and I kind of know some folk eat that sugar up with a spoon, but I just think, oh, you know, here we go. Oh, here we go again. Of course, there's always exceptions to that rule, whether Threads by Barry Hines or Cormac McCarthy's Road, or indeed this. I just kept reading it. And it's something I'll come back to and all, no doubt. Beyond being, you know, like chock full of adventure and stuff, it says quite a bit about quite a lot. Beliefs, prejudice, diversity, loyalty, all that proper egg-scratching kit. Don't shove it down your throat either, nor does it try and preach about what's right and wrong in the world. Don't even feel the need to answer some of the big questions it poses. Just puts it out there for our consideration, like. And it's all the better for it. It's boss, is this. Give it a do ASAP, man.